Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Three Not So Wise Men. I'm Krais.
I'm Jyck.
And I'm Austin.
And this is episode 4 of our mainline series. And today we will be discussing a remastering or remaking any video game.
Yep. Our pitch from last time was remake a video game. Austin, would you like to... We discussed a little bit of last episode, what that entitled. Austin, you want to clarify a few things?
Yeah.
Sure. So, like Krais said, it's remaster or remake. So, remaster, it could be simple as that, whereas you just update the graphics of the game so it looks better. Or you can remake the game so that way there's more gameplay mechanics to it, adjust storylines so that way it's more cohesive, or fix problems that people really didn't like with the original release of the game. And our overall goal is to try to get it to see it as a game that could possibly be released within like the next 6 months today in the modern age. Not like, hey, we're waiting for a certain tech aspect that's still impossible nowadays for it to be realism now. We're just like, how can we update this older game so that way people today can enjoy it?
Yeah. And not like they have 6 months to do the entire project. But
No, like video game development's like years. It takes years.
Yeah. No, like... Yeah, we're not saying that. That would, or designs would be very, very small.
The goal is just like, it could, if it was being worked on already,
Yeah.
it could be released in the next 6 months.
Yeah,
It's
essentially.
just like, we want a modern game with what modern technology allows us to do.
That reminded me of a joke from one of my favorite shows. They have 6 months to make a game. No, God, no.
2D fighter, got it.
Yep.
Yeah. You have like one animation done for one character. And like, how much time do I got? You have 2 minutes. Fuck!
Spam the one attack.
No, not even an attack. It's just like the idle movement. That's all they have done.
White background, yep.
Well, the gameplay on this is I gotta say, a 10 out of 10. So, each one of the wise men will...
Not so wise.
Yeah. Each one of the not so wise men, we're gonna be going over some video games, trying to think of some that we might want to rework, and then give our thoughts on what we want to do for those games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do 30 minutes. We'll have 30 minutes to write everything out, and then we'll go one at a time pitching these. We'll give each other feedback. The same thing we always do.
Except not a whole lot of background needed for this one, since I guess we'll just kind of provide the background with the individual game that we select.
I mean...
Are we wanting to announce the games right now of what we're going to
No,
do? Or,
let's actually make that revealed. But I feel like, it's just kind of how it's different than some of our previous prompts.
Yeah, we don't, like, we could say, hey, I played video games before, but we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What? Nah.
Ooh,
New information.
A good thing to point out,
Mm-hmm.
we also didn't specify how many games you could talk about either. So,
Well, we kind of just want like one game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to throw in some honorable mentions, you can do that. What you thought of doing, but basically what we're trying to do with the explanation of the games is like if the games would be small enough they could combine into like one complete edition game, then you could do multiple games. But ideally, you want like one core game.
Yeah. At the end product you have will be one game,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's like again like if
So
it's like
it's not like saying, hey, let's put with The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2, and The Witcher 3 all into one game remade to modern day. No!
Yeah.
That is going to be like a 200-hour plus game. That'll take like 30 years to make.
That ain't gonna work.
So, we're not doing stuff like that. But like if you want to do, example, The Witcher 1, you want to do the first Witcher game, you can say what you want to do about that, pull mechanics from the newer game, and throw it in the original. So it's all cohesive when you go back and play it. That kind of stuff. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, or if it's really small games that's in a series that could have come out as a big one, but it's like a small developer, then
Yeah.
At the end, you're getting we are ending up with one singular game. Yeah. That's realistic.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Anything else?
I'm good. Well, nervous, but good.
Nervous? Okay, good. Everyone have a good idea of what they're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a general idea.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm definitely not stalling so I can pull out my timer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 30 minutes is...
Quick! Get as much time as we can in.
The 30 minutes has killed us before. Hopefully not as bad this time. Knock on wood.
30 minutes is a good challenge, though. That's what makes it fun.
I like how we're all thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a simple one. 30 minutes later.
We found that out with the trilogy of Star Wars films, and we're like, you know what? Let's do a whole cinematic universe in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
3 phases, yeah. All right, well, let's find out.
All right. Our 30 minutes starts now. And we're back.
Okay.
How's everyone feeling?
Pretty good. Like, yeah, I got everything. Like, there was like one last thing I was gonna type out, but like, it was really more organization than anything else.
Yeah, I think I'm all right. I got like at least a full page, and there was going to be a full page front and back, and I have everything in my head, but I don't have it all written down. Yeah, I just.
Yeah, any problems coming up with stuff, or was it just like flowing through?
It was more of a memory problem for me because I was trying to remember the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really wish I did a little bit more research into the original game I was using.
Gotcha.
I just had to look up, I think, 2 things, and the rest, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, I know I had to look up some stuff for mine. Alrighty, let's see who is going first.
Oh, we're going.
Oh yeah, please don't be.
Krais, you're first.
Fuck!
Do we need a second?
Well, we still gotta find out who's going second, too.
Yeah.
Alright. And here we go. Who will be following Krais?
Not me.
Ooh, it was close to the line. But Jack, you are second.
There we go.
Which makes me third again. Wow, that's 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm glad I'm going second. That was actually the order I wanted to go.
Krais first.
Yeah.
Alright, Krais first because he hates it. So.
Well, actually, I was my personal ideal order would have been Austin, me, Krais. I also could have gone first. I don't know. I'm excited about mine.
Alright.
Yeah, alright. Well, I guess... So, as both of you obviously know what I picked, correct?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, I've been keeping it close.
Because Epic Mickey's getting remade already, and you already told me that you're not doing The Witcher.
Yes.
And was like, shoot, that's one I would have been interested to hear about.
Oh, why'd I look at your notebook? I saw it.
Cheater.
Yeah.
No, you didn't actually.
Okay.
You probably saw my recommended because I had 3 that I thought about, but that was kind of a 3-way tie. But I eventually picked one and went with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will go with my first 2 honorable mentions. Epic Mickey 2.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's the one you saw.
Well,
Is there an Epic Mickey 2?
There is an Epic Mickey 2. It's called Epic Mickey 2 The Power of 2. And in that one...
Okay, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's not as dark as the original one, but it's a 2-player, unlike the original Epic Mickey. You can play... the second player is Oswald.
Okay.
And it's really fun. It wasn't as good, but one of the things that I wanted to do with it is, like, they were going to make a third one after it, but they just never went anywhere with it. And the second game I thought about was Ben 10, because I don't think there's ever been a good Ben 10 game, at least none that I've heard of.
I know there's been like a couple tie-in ones
Yeah.
that kind of went like, I don't know if they went to the PlayStation or not, but they went to like, I know for sure they went to Nintendo stuff, so Wii and DS.
See, yeah.
I've played one before. It was okay. There was a lot. They could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah, and that was another reason, because like a lot of the Ben 10 games that I've played don't really aren't as like amazing as you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
They don't fully optimize.
Yeah.
Like
I think mine was like on the DS.
Yeah,
Like original DS.
The game that I was specifically thinking about was Ben 10 Omniverse 2, I think. One of the games that I had on the Wii. All 3 of the games that I thought of are ones that I had on the Wii.
Oh. Okay.
Well, that's funny because the one I selected also came from my time playing it on the Wii.
I see. But yeah.
But the one that you're actually
one I'm actually doing is something called Disney Universe.
Okay.
I'm listening.
That's not what I saw.
Okay. So, Disney Universe is such a weirdly forgotten game. I don't even remember how I obtained this game. But if I remember correctly, one second, let me do a little research.
I was originally thinking, while you're doing that, I was originally thinking of like making a Disney exclusive like fighter game, like Super Smash Bros. But it's just Disney characters. But it'd be like, by Disney I mean like Disney and Pixar exclusively, nothing that.
Oh, so no Marvel or Star
No,
Wars?
no. Just like, I like Disney and Pixar exclusively characters.
Interesting.
Yeah. We do have a Disney fighter.
We do have a Disney platform fighter.
Yeah, I know. That's
But,
why I
like-
didn't go with that.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And then that one can be up for interpretation how much you want to include off the Disney banner.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're not talking about that. Crazy,
Yeah.
please go.
So the reason why I chose Disney Universe is because it came 2 years before Disney Infinity.
Okay.
It came out the same year Skylanders did, and so it just kind of came out in the wrong year, I think.
Is this another Toys to Life game?
No, actually, it's like a free-for-all platformer.
Okay.
Basically, how it works is, if you guys want to look it up, go right ahead.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Please
let's-
explain.
Basically, what it is, you
It's
play
called Disney Universe?
Disney Universe.
Okay.
Okay, basically you play as these little dudes dressed up in costumes of Disney characters.
Oh.
And you would go through stages in Disney movies and, follow the plot. Okay? And that was basically it. Now, I never did it with, a bunch of people because you could have up to 4 people on it. But one of the things that I liked about it is that not only could you work together, but you could also just cause chaos and just not work with anyone and be the one dick that just says, fuck you, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to beat the game on my own.
Interesting.
So the original level, there was worlds, and then there was levels, and then there were stages. Mm-hmm. So how that worked is you would play through, there would be 3 stages in a level. Mm-hmm. And it would basically just be locations in the movie or in the movies that you would have to play through, solve some puzzles, beat some enemies to get to the next stage and acquire upgrades for your costumes or new costumes. Mm-hmm. So the original Disney universes that they had were Alice in Wonderland, Pirates of the Caribbean, Lion King, WALL-E, Monsters Inc., and Aladdin.
They got a couple more franchises since then.
Yeah.
Yes. But they also had costumes from The Little Mermaid, Tron, Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse and Company, Finding Nemo, and one of my favorites, Lilo and Stitch.
Nice.
Of course.
Yeah, you could dress up as Stitch and just run around. So as soon as I unlocked him, which was one of the last ones, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could just run around playing as him.
Yeah.
It's crazy too because it looks like Stitch is on the cover of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I bought it too, I think. Yeah. Because I was like, Stitch!
So what are you doing with this game that's updating it? How are you remaking this game?
So not only am I just remastering, just making it better, but I've also added more content to it. I did some research, and originally in the game, there was 45 outfits that you could change into. I've almost doubled that with the new locations that you could travel to. Because I felt like the combat and the playstyle was fun. It just felt short. So I thought I would be fun to add new locations to the game. And I also thought it would be a really fun multiplayer online game as well. Playing with people from across the world would be really fun to do with this. The newer stuff that I've added, the newer stages that you play in, would be Inside Out, Treasure Planet, Atlantis, Big Hero 6, Toy Story, and Tangled.
Interesting.
And some of the new costume brands that I also wanted to add are Bugs Life, Cars, The Incredibles, Wreck-It Ralph, Princess and the Frog, and Frozen.
Nice.
Interesting.
And then I've just kind of gone through each of the newer brands that I've added and added like stages that would be fun to go through. And so like Inside Out, you would go through the headquarters, the Dream Production Labs, where you could fight the clown monster as one of the mini bosses, the Memory Dump, Imagination Land, Big Hero 6, the expo at the beginning of the movie where you're trying to like put out fires.
Okay.
And it also had a very wide range of like, it wasn't just, hey, beat up these bad guys until the end of the game. No, there was puzzles that you had to solve. Like, I think in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean levels, you had to shoot at the Black Pearl with cannons. And then in the next scene, you're on the Black Pearl, which is pretty cool. But anyways, Big Hero 6, the expo, Fred's house, final battle at Crane's facility, and also the cafe. I had a harder time with Treasure Planet because I couldn't remember much of Treasure Planet. But I just added it because I wanted to give it some love. I need to rewatch it. But
super underrated film.
For sure. Well, not anymore because it's all anyone talks about when Treasure Planet's brought up. Just it's super underrated. So
it's like the famously underrated.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I also had a list of costumes for everyone as well. Like for Inside Out, it would be all the emotions. Maybe -1 because they had a maximum of 5 for every world.
Franchise.
Yeah. So I probably everyone but Discuss or maybe Fear. And Bing Bong. I feel like if you didn't do Bing Bong, it would be a crime.
Yep.
But yeah, it's basically just more content for this game that I felt needed more love. Because like I said, it's a good game, and I remember enjoying it a lot. It's just because it came out the same year as like Skylanders, and then they immediately like shut it down to do the Toys to Life franchise. That it just got left in the wind.
It looks like it got rated very well.
Yeah.
Steam has it as a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I saw that. I was very impressed.
Also, there's this the starting song that plays at the beginning of the game. I really enjoy it. I would recommend it. It's super simple. I would play it, but I don't think we can.
Nah, probably not.
It's just called Suit Up, and if you look up Suit Up Disney Universe, you'll find it on YouTube. It's very energetic and fun. Also, the game is very fun, like funny. So that's another thing that I enjoyed about it. But and another reason why I think it needs a remake.
Yeah.
Cool. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't have more.
Yeah. I've never even heard of it before.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the cover. I'm like, oh, I think I've seen that before. But yeah, didn't know about that. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that a little bit.
I might bring it one day. I have my Wii.
Oh yeah, that's
Well, yeah. Definitely do that. Jack!
It sounds really good. I didn't know this game exists. I've never seen the cover art or anything. So I'm excited that there is. I like the idea that it's guys in costumes using the powers as opposed to playing as the characters themselves, because I feel like that makes it a little harder. That complicates things. But I love that I think this game was great to choose, and I love that you can just add stuff onto it and make it longer as well as updating graphics and such. My thing was, you chose Tangled as a world to be in, but not, and Frozen was like just characters you could play as. I personally would have switched to them, because the Tangled world, yes, it has the tower, the tavern, and then I guess the lake or the castle at the end of it. They're not as iconic as, like Elsa's castle.
I don't know. I think that lake scene's pretty iconic.
I think the scene is iconic. I don't think the location is iconic.
I don't know. Boats, nights, lanterns in the sky. That seems pretty iconic to me.
Well,
There's a reason why I did that.
okay.
A while ago, we watched Tangled, and we recently just played Clue, and someone made the joke of what if there was Tangled Clue or something like that. Me, Austin, and some friends were writing down who the people you could play as, what the murder weapons were, and the locations. So I just quickly pulled up my phone, went to that old doc, and I was like, what did I have written down? Because we had to come up with a bunch of locations from the movie that were really iconic.
Yeah.
That you could use. Yeah, Tangled Clue. The tower, the ugly duckling, the castle, the dam, the forest, the town square, the docks, the prison, the bridge, and that's 8. and you need at least there's like the three main stages. There's the 3 stages of every level.
Yeah.
You could easily do Tangled, I think.
Yeah. I think you could. For the record, I think Tangled is my favorite Disney movie. I am not bashing it by anything. I just don't think it's as I don't think it'll be it. I just think marketing wise, Frozen would have been a better choice. I would personally prefer to see
because Frozen always crosses $1 billion every time it comes out.
Yeah, that was my thing. I personally would prefer to see Tangled. I just think Frozen would have been like.
Yeah. And to build off what I said earlier, I thought this was really cool. I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
To kind of also go where Jack's coming from, I think because we are remastering it in the 2020s or remaking it in 2020s, I think you should also pull from some of the more newer stuff like Frozen, but also like Moana, since it's finally getting its second film later this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got and then Kanto, you could get a whole lot of cool costumes with the vibrant colors from Kanto. So I just feel like I really like this direction, and I can't bash it a whole lot just because I don't know a whole lot about this game. Mm-hmm. But like the only thing I could suggest, put some more of the newer franchises in there too, to get more of that younger audience that's growing up with these movies too.
Yeah.
But Inside Out was definitely a good call.
See, and I was thinking about some of those, like some newer ones, because I did 6 total new worlds.
Yeah, can you remind me what those 6 were again?
Inside Out, Treasure Planet, Atlantis, Big Hero 6, Toy Story 3, and then Tangled.
Okay, so like Treasure Planet and Atlantis, and I would even say Tangled, that would be something that would definitely get people our age really more interested, but we also want to get that younger demographic too.
Yeah.
So you do, like Inside Out was a good one for that.
Yeah.
But also you want to get stuff that's come out within the last couple of years.
What I would do is I'd switch Tangled out with Frozen and then cut.
I'd keep Tangled. I'd just add Frozen.
Add Frozen, and I think either Treasure Planet or Atlantis I would cut and just keep one of them, just because.
Do both.
See, and
I'm just saying, realistically, this is probably what would happen.
Yeah, I think you could add more to this list. Like, I only did 6 and 5 universes for the costumes and for the worlds, because that's what they originally had.
Okay.
So I didn't want to go like 12 and 12 and just make it unrealistic with the new content. But,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Basically, the only thing we're doing is saying we want more of what you already have. Is essentially what I feel like we're saying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
What you have is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were put in charge of this project, you would have done what we were talking about.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, you want to tell us about yours?
All right, yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so big shock, I chose a Pokemon game.
What?
Okay.
That's crazy.
So I was really struggling to find a single game to remake because I realized all my favorite games are either super small. Yeah, they're either super small, like all the ones I could think of were like games that have been put on like mobile devices, and I didn't want to do that. Or they're part of franchises where they're actively doing all of the ideas I would have had for that game, or they're incorporating into new things. Like I thought of for doing an Assassin's Creed game, but all the ones I had, they added the mechanics and stuff I would have added in to future games, and essentially I would have just altered the story a bit and done different things for that specific location. But that means I would have to play through. I would have to do a lot more delving into the story of whatever game I chose, and there were so many to choose, and it just didn't seem worth it for like that kind of thing. So I decided to pick a Pokemon game because that is by far the gaming franchise I know most about, and I decided to pick the Pokemon game I know the most, which is Pokemon Heart Gold, but I'm also adding Soul Silver.
Yeah,
so,
you have to.
Yeah. So since this is Pokemon, this can either be one of the ones where it's 2 different versions of the same game, like Scarlet and Violet, Red and Blue, that type of thing. Or they can do what Legends Arceus did, where it's one game, but at one point you choose between the one or the other, and then you basically the rest of it is that variation, that version of the game. And this either one could work with what I have. I wrote it as I wrote everything down as it's 2 different versions though. So essentially, I'm going to go through what it was for Heart Gold because that's the one I played, but then at the end of it, I'll explain the variations if you chose the Soul Silver version. I didn't come up with a new name because I didn't think it was worth it. But essentially, the changes that I would do. Obviously, I would update the graphics. How I would do this, it would no longer be a 2D top-down. I would make it like what they did with Scarlet and Violet, where it's an open world type, like, controls, like how you move around. But it would not be an actual open world. We would be in the same map. Okay. We'd be in the same map, but you'd move around like it's an open world. It's a 3D one.
So it'd kind of be like, let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee.
Yeah, it was more like that, yes.
Okay.
Except you would be able to look around. It would just feel a little bit more contained. But let's go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee version is actually, or the Let's Go is actually probably better. Where it's the same thing. It wouldn't be like what they tried to do with Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl. Because that was still like on a 2D map where you could only go up, down, left, or right. Map-wise, but your character could go any direction, and that ruined a lot of things. Basically, it looked like mechanics, how you move around would be like Let's Go. But it would be with Scarlet and Violet, like, level graphics. You would be able to customize your character's look, that type of thing. The Pokemon following you would still be a thing, because that was the first time they did it, was in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Yeah, but I would use the mechanics from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because they have yet to get Pokemon following you correct since then. Yes, it's unrealistic on what they have, but it actually works in that game. For HMs, I would keep HMs, but they would do... And I'm explaining this for someone who knows the game, because there's so many Pokemon games. Yes, they're pretty much all the same, but the mechanics I'm going into are very specific to this game. And I can't go into explaining all the mechanics without taking forever, so I'm explaining this like you already know. But I would use like what Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl did with the HMs. Essentially, you would have them recorded and summon wild Pokemon to do it, and then I would update everything, all the moves, abilities, add the fairy type, all that to now. And then also the quality of life things like being able to check your boxes, the Pokemon boxes on you, and just that type of thing. Just mechanics-wise, update it to Scarlet and Violet to make it easier to play, and you're not having to worry about all this stuff, is essentially what that all boils down to. Outside of that, I added one thing, because Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver did so much. They just added so much things to do, and it's also 2 regions, like the original Gold and Silver were, because it was Johto and Kanto. What I did was I just added a little bit of story once you have gone through the Johto and right before you go to Kanto. And I looked and I was trying to think of what Pokemon game to do, and I realized we don't get a lot of lore for Ho-Oh and Lugia. We get a little bit, but not a lot of it is explained. So I wanted to fix that. Problem is, as I mentioned, there's very little to go on, so I made up a lot of stuff. So this is essentially what I would do to fix this problem that I have been mad at for many years. Okay. So this is just a small little story blurb you would do once you have become the champion of Johto. So I'm going to tell it from like the Heart Gold version's point of view, and then again I will explain the alterations to Lugia. Yeah. Essentially, it's just the differences between the 2 games. Again, through Ho-Oh's perspective. Once you have become champion, you are sent to revisit the Burn Tower, where Ho-Oh revived the 3 Pokemon to create the 3 legendary dogs. Something that is very awesome that Ho-Oh can do, but is never mentioned outside the story.
Yes.
And you come across an old woman, and she has kept an oral history of basically what I'm about to tell you. And then she tells you why these legends about Ho-Oh are a thing. Not only that, but Ho-Oh has the power to revive Pokemon from the dead and turn them into legendary Pokemon, but also the legend where if you see Ho-Oh, it'll grant you any wish you want. I decided to finally frickin' address that.
What? No, sorry.
Yeah. So essentially, Ho-Oh gets that ability when the Heart Gem is lit, which happens only once a year. And it gets that appearance where its feathers glow rainbow, which it has been described to have many times, but doesn't actually have. And then that's how we see it in the Pokemon anime as well. It finally looks like that, and also make it bigger and more powerful. And that's its heart form. It's essentially what it is. because we get a lot of legendary Pokemon with alternate forms, whether they be Mega or Origin forms or what have you. I wanted to give that to Lugia and Ho-Oh. So it gains the new appearance and immense power. And you find out that that the Heart Gem glows once a year, and you find out this is happening at dusk that day, so sundown. Once you find that out, a man named Kelso enters the room, barges in with Lugia in tow, and demands from the old woman to know where the Heart and Soul Gems are. So the Soul Gem is the counterpart for Lugia, essentially. Yeah. You battle him, you defeat him, and then he sends Lugia, and he blasts you out of the tower. The burned tower. And then he exits and he says, I got the information from the lady on where these gems are. I'm out of here. And he's out of there. And then you go back into the tower. And as I was writing this, I was thinking of like what the graphics look like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So my mind doesn't have it quite updated to what it would actually look like. So that, yeah. But, so you re-enter the tower, and the woman's like, okay, you need to stop this guy. Here's where this is. And it is essentially in the mountain region northwest of Ecruteak City, which is the city where you are currently in. Ecruteak has the burnt tower in it.
Okay.
And if you look at the map, northwest, there's just like mountains there.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I was thinking that was the mountain that you go fight Red at.
No, that's Mount Silver.
No, yeah, that's right. Right. Sorry. Go on.
You're good. So yeah, you head over there, and you're told to add Ho-Oh to your party and get to the top of the burn tower, which you do. You get up to the top of the burn tower, and a cutscene plays where Ho-Oh, basically, you hop on Ho-Oh's back, and you fly over to this area. And then in this area, you're basically blocked off. You still have access to your boxes, but you can't fast travel, you can't do anything. It's its own region. And this area is beautiful, it's vibrant, it has glowing pools of water, which is how you heal your Pokemon, you interact with them. With the glowing pools of water, the leaves on the trees are rainbow, and it's just absolutely beautiful and untouched. And you'll see wild Pokemon there that match the level of where you're at. To get some, that lets you grind a little better to get your Pokemon's levels up. If you need to, you can come back. Because I feel like that didn't really happen as much. So yeah, and it's very Victory Road-esque, back when we really had Victory Road in Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. But the main thing is there is no one here. This has not been touched by any human ever, except for Kelso. And you find a spot where he's basically been crashing through in a rush to get to these gems. You follow the trail. You finally get to this shrine, basically, where we have the heart and the glowing gold heart gem and the glowing silver soul gem, and they're there. And then basically, without going into too much detail because I didn't really work it out, Kelso goes into his villain monologue about how he's going to take Lugia's power and rule over all of Johto, because that's what Pokemon villains do. And then you go into a battle where it is just you with Ho-Oh and him with Lugia in their heart and soul forms. After you beat him, and it'd be a very hard battle, and whether it takes multiple tries or whatever. Once you beat him, essentially he's defeated. Lugia, he has Lugia. It breaks free from its Pokeball and runs off, so you can catch Lugia later. And you bring him back, and he's arrested or something, whatever the heck you want to do with the villain. Or he just runs off and you never see him again. But Ho-Oh decides that Ho-Oh wants to grant you a gift. So it takes, basically, from then on, if you give the heart gem as an item to hold for Ho-Oh, when he's brought out, he goes into his heart form. The slight stat boost, the appearance changes, and he gains the move Rainbow Blessing, which either it's a fire type move, it does a lot of damage to opponents, but if you use it on an ally in a double battle or something, it heals them completely. That is, yeah. Because I brought that in from like the reviving Pokemon and granting the wish. Yeah. So essentially, it lets you, as long as he has as long as Ho-Oh has the gem on him, he can tap into that power to a tiny degree, and he gets his own form. The differences with Lugia is you go to the Whirlpool Islands instead of the Burn Tower. Obviously, it's the Soul Gem. His form is like a glowing, sparkly silver, because he's basically he's the guardian of the sea.
Yeah.
And is in charge of the legendary bird trio. So Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno. It's very Lugia does not get a lot of lore, not even as much as Ho-Oh.
Yeah, I would argue that Lugia gets less lore than Ho-Oh does.
Yeah, and it's in the Pokemon not Stadium. In one of the Pokemon games, there's Shadow Lugia, Colosseum. Pokemon
Colosseum.
You get Shadow Lugia, so you get that where he does actually have an alternate form, but it's specific to those games and they're aside. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he has his own form, same storyline. Austin is loving this.
Yeah, Austin is just over here not knowing anything.
Yeah. I haven't played a Pokemon game since like 2015.
Oh my god,
I don't know.
We gotta fix that,
I can't
dude.
remember the last time. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I played Black version 2. It's been a fat minute.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I last had my DS. That's another thing.
I was originally going to do a Unova game, like a Black 2, or a Black and White, or a Black 2, White 2 remake. But I realized how long it's been since I played them, and I hadn't played them nearly as much as Heart Gold.
I'll be honest, that would probably be the one that catch my attention more, just because it's the only one I play.
Yeah, it's just, also I feel like...
that and a little Pokemon Go every now and then, but...
Also, knock on wood, we are going back to Unova soon.
Hopefully. That was the thought before ZA showed up, but...
I think they just wanted to bring back Mega Evolution. Anyway, and then the only other difference is you get Lugia at the end, and it is... the movie gains, he gets all the same boosts and alterations, but he has the Soul Gem, and he gets the move Soul Blessing. It's a Psychic type move, because for some reason Lugia is a flying Psychic type. That does the same thing as Heart Blessing, it's just Psychic type. Yeah. So that's mine. I decided to update quality of life things and add some story into it, which you guys knew I was going to add story or change story.
Right.
I finally felt I should try at least to attempt to fix the injustice that have been brought to Lugia and Ho-Oh so far.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts.
I'll go first.
I was about to say.
Mine will be short.
Yeah.
As someone who hasn't played Pokemon in a fat minute, I think it sounds good. It's just nice to revive some stuff, add additional lore, because, it's always nice to know more about stuff that you care about.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would have liked to learn... I guess I would have wanted a little bit more like just some of the other Pokemon you'll find in that. Because I know one of the things that they like to do is that they'll introduce Pokemon that weren't originally in that region.
Yes.
And I didn't know if you were going to bring some of the newer Pokemon that they've canonized into being that region. Just because, how things go over a 30-year-old franchise.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one thing I would have liked more of, seeing if you're going to bring some more Pokemon that weren't in those original games.
So, yes, I didn't touch on it because it would have required a lot more research as to what were in those games. But yes, there would be a lot more Pokemon just in the base games themselves, but in that particular region, in those mountains, which I forgot to name them. Say the name. It's the Heart and Soul Mountains. That's it. They would... So, there is I don't think it's actually confirmed, but there's a map of all the locations of each Pokemon region, and we have, the Pokemon world. I don't think it's actually canon.
Yeah, I've seen what you're talking about.
But basically what the mountains would hold is, yes, the main game would have, what you said, more Pokemon from other areas to just give you more options to play with. But in that area, it would have a lot of Pokemon from whatever region is closest to there. So the northwest region of Johto. That would have required more information, more research. And I cut it. I was a sentence away. I had one more sentence to type when the timer went off. So there was no way I could have done what I wanted to do. But essentially, yes, I wanted to do that. Did not have time to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all I had.
Yeah.
Krais was over here lighting up like a little schoolgirl, so he needs to share some thoughts.
All right,
okay.
We're really gonna nerd out even more than usual somehow. I don't know how that's possible. We are.
As someone who is as big as, or maybe bigger, I don't think we fully established who's more of a Pokemon nerd. I don't really want to find out.
I don't think you do either.
Oh, it's okay.
We're gonna have a Pokemon trivia contest at some point. We're gonna see you.
Okay. Putting a pin in that. Because I really don't want to go into that. I will say, I love that you're giving some love to Gen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just right out the gate.
Yeah.
Gen 2 can be so forgotten at times that it's ridiculous. I will say, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there was, when Pokemon Arceus came out, or Legends Arceus came out, people were speculating that the next Legends game was going to be taking place in Johto.
I was one of them, yeah.
You were one of them? Okay.
I was one of the people who thought that's where they were going next, yeah.
Well, someone did a Legends Celebi.
Okay.
And
I did think that was where they were going with that too, yeah.
And like, so I've seen someone make a like regional variants of certain Pokemon for Johto. You would go into like Ho-Oh's past and Lugia's past, and when you said you were just like fixing that, I'm like, yes, yes,
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Both Ho-Oh and Lugia need like some backbone to them. Like one of the things that you mentioned but didn't go into, Lugia is a psychic flying type. When he is the guardian of the sea.
Yeah, he's not a water type.
Yeah, and lives underwater. Yeah, I don't know why he's not a water type.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really good like post game to add to the game. It makes sense, and it particularly adding to Ho-Oh and Lugia is such a good move, and honestly a no-brainer move that should have been done a while ago. Yeah. I just commend you on like wanting to flesh it out now. I had another thought. I will say I do like the idea of having it being more Let's Go-esque.
Yeah.
Because I think, like I said, since it's been so long since we've gotten a new Gen 2 game, I just think a nice updated graphics would be just mwah.
Yeah.
And the soul form and heart form, thank you. Love it.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, they've done that with almost every other legendary Pokemon.
Yeah. Did you say what like elements of Lugia were a part of the Heart and Soul Mountains? Because you talked about how there's like
glowing water and rainbow leaves. So the water would be Lugia, and then the leaves would be Ho-Oh. Is essentially what it came down to.
Okay,
But the idea is it's very vibrant and full of life and untouched. It's very surreal. Is the word I would use to describe the mountains. And it's not a very big area.
Yeah.
It's literally just for this. And you can come back to get those Pokemon, but that's about it.
I will say I do wish you had actually went into the origins a little bit more of both. Like if you, I get you probably couldn't like come up with the entire origin story.
No, I didn't have time to do all of it.
Yeah. The only reason why it's an issue for me, but more so lately, because the whole Entei, Suicune, and Raikou...
Yeah, getting their paradox forms.
Getting paradox forms.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of theories. There's some I like, some I hate, but I kind of wish you gave your ideas on that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's because I'm a massive nerd about it. If our listeners don't know anything about it, and it would have been a waste. But personally, that's what I would have liked to see.
I considered that, but also I felt like I was going to be talking so much already. I decided not to.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
There was one more thing I was going to add. And I'm forgetting it. Oh, the events in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. There were so many events with like Celebi, Arceus, but that one got cut.
Oh,
Lugia, Dialga. They had a lot of events where you could go out to a real life location and get a code for an in-game item. You would add that item to your game, and then it lets you go to another area. We would still have that, but they would be like permanent events. Like you would just go to the website and get the code type of thing.
Preach it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate events.
That's why I didn't go into Celebi as well, because Celebi already had an event. Otherwise, I would have. Celebi is my favorite mythical. So anyway, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I guess we'll move to me then.
I don't think you told me.
How's your vocal rest?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I feel very rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can't speak anymore.
Yeah.
So I decided to toss around the idea of 2 different Marvel games that could have been rebooted or remade. I originally went with Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which I thought that could have been a cool one where you get to play as Spider-Man and alongside his villains, and you work together to try and stop an alien invasion. What's also being helped run by Mysterio.
Ooh.
And it's fun gameplay and stuff, but I kind of like this idea of this other one a little bit more. The other Marvel game that I thought I might do was Marvel Nemesis, which was, I have a big background for it, and it's one of the reasons why this podcast started in the first place. Yeah. But I chose not to do it because when I really thought about it, I don't necessarily want a remake of that game, but I want a game that's similar in spirit to it, so I just couldn't use it for the remake prompt.
Yeah.
So what I ultimately decided to do was Star Wars The Force Unleashed.
Ooh! You went there!
I went there.
Yay!
So, like I said, I played this game a lot on the Wii, which is, from what I've seen a lot in my little bit of research, it's one of the best versions to do it because you got to swing the Wii remote around like a lightsaber and just cause so much havoc. Yeah. And the general story for The Force Unleashed is that you play as Darth Vader's secret apprentice in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And he does the secret missions where he goes out and kills some of the remaining Jedi from Order 66. And it's a really fun game, which I definitely recommend you playing. I recently got it for the 360, and I understand that's came out a while, but some of the controls just feel very stiff. And like when I was playing it, I had a hard time seeing what was going on. So those are one of the main reasons why I really wanted to remake this game. The other reason is because I played this game on the Wii, the DS, and the Xbox version. And the crazy thing that I found is that none of the stories are all the same. Like, some of them are missing missions, some of them have additional missions. And so I'm like, this game is really good. It's got a fantastic story, so why don't we just make one collective edition that has everything brought together? So for this, we're going to remake it, and we're going to put the Jedi Temple missions that you can play in the Wii version. They're going to be part of the main story for everyone, all around. With Standard Remastered, we're going to update the graphics so they look a lot better. We're also going to update the controls so they might feel a little bit more on par with the new Star Wars Jedi games, which they have fantastic controls, and it's a lot of fun to play with. And I feel like
Order and Survivor, right? That's the ones you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like something along the lines of that, where instead of playing like the Jedi, you're going to play on the Sith side and get more of that darkness that I feel has been missing from the Jedi games, which, don't get me wrong, they definitely have some dark sides in it. Yeah. There's also a series of missions where you fight Proxy, who is this character's name is Starkiller in the first game. I think it's like Garen Mellick that they address in the second game, but I'm just referring to him as Starkiller. Yeah. Proxy is his practice droid who's able to transmit holograms and fighting styles of other Jedi or Sith Lords. So there's a couple times where you fight him in the game. So we're going to throw those missions in there as well. There's also a bunch of DLCs that came out for the game, which is called the Ultimate Sith Edition. And basically, it takes place after the main story and goes into the original trilogy as the dark side. And so you get to do dark stuff, like on the first one, you go to Tatooine and you basically kill off Jabba the Hutt there and fight Boba Fett and kill him there. And then you fight Ben Kenobi in the Mos Eisley Star Pit right before they leave for the Death Star. I see. Yeah. So that, I just want to see that as an additional part. There's a second one that adds to that where he goes to Hoth at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. Fights Luke and turns him to the dark side. Ooh. And then the third one takes place for Return of the Jedi, and he goes towards where the Battle of Endor is, and he kills Han Solo and Chewie, and then fights a Jedi Leia.
Like, there's only so many oohs and ahs we can do.
I know, but like there's they teased a lot of Leia being force sensitive, and like they wanted to do more with her before Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away. Yeah, this actually fully realizes it. Like her realizing that Luke fell to the dark side helped her elevate her force powers, and then you get to have a fight against Leia.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so, and the cool thing about this one is, like, you got two options. The way the main story ends, you get to choose a light side ending and a dark side ending. If you choose the light side ending, it's fine, you'll have that ending, and then you can go back to the main menu and start the dark side missions. But if you choose the dark side of the story, it'll automatically start putting you in those dark side missions.
Okay.
Okay.
Another fun thing I wanted to add back to it was a bunch of cheat codes that they had in the game where you get to do alternate costumes and stuff. Like, how many games do you see that nowadays that have cheat codes, like a little cheat code system?
The only one that I know of right now is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, basically nothing, because Grand Theft Auto, the last GTA game, came out in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we're just going to do that, and basically it just does cosmetic stuff. Like, if you want to see Han Solo killing a bunch of stormtroopers with a lightsaber, it's just fun stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing I'm really adjusting is the dual mode, which was exclusive to the Wii and the PSP version of the game. So Xbox and PlayStation players never really got to do multiplayer on it.
Okay.
So one thing I really want to do is make sure it's crossplay, so
Yeah.
everyone gets a chance at it.
Yeah.
Half the versus roster on that was all different costumes for Starkiller.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing that, I'm going to shrink it down so that there's slightly less characters, but there's more costume options for each character.
Okay.
So that way you can still unlock all the costumes like you did to get the fighters in the versus mode, but you unlock costumes for the characters.
Gotcha.
I also want to adjust the lightsaber combat that they had in the mode, because in the original dual mode, they only had one lightsaber, one single blade, including for characters like Asajj Ventress and Darth Maul. This one, we're giving Darth Maul double blade, so he's going to have his own form of mechanic combat,
Yeah.
lightsaber combat. Asajj Ventress is going to get her double blades.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to start adding characters. So I want all the bosses from the main part of the game to be playable, since they're all mostly lightsaber wielders. Then I feel like that'd just be, nice. You have their assets, throw them in.
Yeah.
Some other characters I thought would be cool would be General Grievous to throw in.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka Tano.
Ooh.
This one would be fun to get some little cross promotion. Would be Cal Kestis.
Ooh.
I was thinking of that.
It's
Like,
yeah, let's throw in two of the famous video game Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
And throw them in the same game.
Yeah.
To get some sequel trilogy love, we got Rey Skywalker and Kylo Ren as well. And Kylo Ren would have his crossblade.
Yeah.
Ahsoka would have her double blade, and General Grievous would be the only character with 4 lightsabers.
Yep. Of course.
In addition, with the DLC, we'd also get Jedi Leia, and then she would also have all of her classic iconic costumes, like her prisoner one from New Hope, including, you know where I'm going, we'll get her Slave Leia costume too. It won't be default, but it'll be there. I also wanted to add a bunch of new maps to the multiplayer mode, and that would include maps like Mustafar, the Death Star, Naboo, Kamino, Dagobah, and the Starkiller base.
Yeah.
As well as a couple of maps that you get from the DLCs, like the Mos Eisley Pit and Endor. And then, of course, all the characters are going to get costumes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about all I really had for this. I kind of just want a plain remake that kind of brings everything together, and so that way we get some of the newer Star Wars fans out. We bring in those iconic characters or newer characters like Kylo Ren, General Grievous for the iconic part, as well as expanding on the new lightsaber combat in there. But yeah, I just really like this game, and I'd love to see it updated with better controls. And honestly, I kind of see this being similar to like the newer Resident Evil remake games, where they're not really messing with a whole lot, but they're kind of making it a more definitive edition.
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, I just wanted to make sure everyone kind of gets the same story all around. So like, they're getting all the fun mechanics from it as well.
Yeah, nice. Do you want to go first? Or
I'd like to go first. All right. So I really like that was taking all the features that were exclusive to different versions and putting them all into one game should have been done. I think that was there should have been a definitive edition where they did that, but they didn't. So I think that was a no-brainer, and I think if you had not done that, I probably would have been mad at you. I've never even played the game, but just I really want. I'm going to. I promise. But I feel like if you had not done that just on principle, I would have had to be mad at you. Because that's, like, why wouldn't you do that? But yes, so I think doing that and then just bringing it all together and improving it, just doing that alone would be amazing, but you went further and you took the versus mode and made it there. And not only fleshed a little bit out, you added so much to it that I think you just basically did the best remaster you could have, where you didn't change a lot, you just added to it and improved what was already there, which in this game is like very highly...
It's very highly praised, and I love it personally as a fan, so... Me as a hypothetical game developer would love to bring that back up and just share what made it so good, but also expand on where it kind of drove back. And like that's where I'd say probably the biggest problem with it is that it was so split across even just between Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be nice to have one good thing that brings it all together, and then it allows a more fun factor that we got as kids when we played it.
Yeah.
And like you get to play with your friends, and you could even do like custom parties if you want to do like a King of the Hill situation where one person selects one character and everyone has a character in the backlog and they try to run it through.
Yeah.
And first person to beat everyone in the lobby wins the whole game.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd just be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Just my final note is I feel like you just, not really a note, more of a comment. I feel like you just took the essence of a remake or a remaster and brought it to life with this game.
Yeah, just kind of going off that. Yeah, I think it just, like, combining it all into one remastered game. Genius idea. Like Jack, I haven't played it before. I only know it from reputation alone. I first heard of the game from that one Robot Chicken sketch.
Of course it's Robot Chicken.
Hey Vander, how's that new pupil of yours doing? What's his name? Deathbringer. Starkiller. That's it. Yeah, how's he doing? He's killing everyone. What? Yeah. I remember watching that and like learning of Starkiller and being like, what is this game? Looking it up. Oh, this is that game. Okay.
I would love it if Disney wanted to canonize him, but dude is so overpowered. That's what makes him so much fun, because he literally does every single force power.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would just be a blast to redo.
Yeah, I agree with you. He is such a interesting character to want to redo. And now that the more you talk about it, it's basically like they did an overpowered Cal Kestis before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I always compare to the Jedi games too. That's probably my problem against them, is that I'm comparing them to a game, 15, 20 years ago. 15 years ago. I'm not that old yet.
Yeah.
But
God, we're old.
But yeah, I really do believe that Force Unleashed was part of the skeleton that helped made the Jedi games.
Yeah.
And like even when I play them, I'm like, this does remind me a little bit of playing the Force Unleashed games by, taking a lightsaber, killing a bunch of stormtroopers. Yeah. And yeah,
I think it would be such a cool idea if you could combine the two. Like, they're basically the same, just one on one side. Each are on different sides.
And probably the thing I'd probably change in the story, or maybe even just add to the story, that would help, expand with all the new lore that we have. I'd probably throw a couple Inquisitors as people you would fight. Or change some of the Sith Lords that you fight in certain spots as Inquisitors.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really think you don't need to touch the story a whole lot. You just kind of need to bring everything together. Mm-hmm. And I do, because I played it on the Wii, I do believe that the Jedi Temple missions do help with the mission and just help expand, see what happened not too long after Order 66. Because I believe the game takes place 10 years after Order 66, so...
Mm-hmm. You know what I just thought of as a good comparison between the two?
What?
What was the game called again? Force Unleashed?
Yeah.
Force Unleashed is God of War for Star Wars.
Yeah, not entirely. I mean, you're not too far off, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a good idea. Also, my last note, love the idea of mods. Mods are, not mods. Cheat codes. And that's one of the reasons.
It'd just be like a nice little sprinkle of flavor from the past. Nice little nostalgia
Because, mods are just ridiculous nowadays.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd still leave it open enough so that you can do mods and stuff.
Yeah.
On PC, but like
they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
whether you want them to or not.
yeah, it's gonna happen. But like those nice little cheat codes that give you some of the classic stuff, I feel like that'd just be a nice little treat.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, I didn't want to interrupt you, so I didn't. But like, you were talking about cheat codes, and then you said that when you brought up the costumes and you brought up Slave Leia, in my head I was like, you might as well make it official. They're gonna mod it and add that in there, whether you.
Yeah.
They're gonna add that in
Yeah.
there
And like,
if you don't.
I understand that game developers, if anything, they would have that multiplayer section, and they'd probably monetize a bunch of the skins and stuff.
Yeah.
You know that people are gonna mod Slave Leia in there, put it in there, you make money off it.
Yeah.
I mean, you own the rights to the fucking costume anyways, so.
Might as well.
Yeah. But, like, it's just, not because it's, like, a sex symbol thing, but, like, it's an iconic costume.
It is.
Like, it's just in people's heads, so.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to change the Lego Leia, like Slave Leia.
I remember
minifig.
the backlash on that.
And there was so much backlash. So, yeah. You kind of...
Don't mess with it. Just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
People like it, put it in the game. All right. Well, I thought that was pretty good. That was good. Good section.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, got to learn about.
Good episode, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Good
We're shaking
episode.
all around. For the people who can't see us, we're shaking hands because it's
Why
an
not?
audio medium.
All right. So, I feel like we've had a couple good episodes in a row now. Like, I really like the DC one too. That was
No, they were all...
yours was, but I was pretty proud of mine. All right.
Shut up.
Yeah,
All right,
I enjoyed this the most too because I wasn't as stressed out. We weren't making 3 movies or an entire freaking franchise.
Yeah.
It was one game we could focus on.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
And it's also very different because we're not necessarily writing a full story either. It's
No.
just kind of like, hey, how do we fix stuff?
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And if you want my honest opinion, I think we could do this prompt again.
Oh yeah, we could.
Just pick a different game completely.
We could. We're not going to, but we could do something like this for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe later
For
down
sure.
the road when we're running out of
Maybe
ideas.
Yeah, we've got way too many already.
We'll talk.
But speaking of that,
Outside of the ears of the kids.
let's see what our prompt for the next episode will be. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Create your reality TV show.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Oh.
It's this.
Make a podcast. If you do, you die. Okay.
That was such a... Okay.
Whose idea was it anyways? I know that wasn't mine.
What?
That was yours.
Actually, the story of that prompt is dates back before we did the podcast.
Thoughts on the prompt? I hate reality TV personally, so this is gonna be interesting. I'm either gonna come up with an idea of like the only reality TV show I'll like, or just be like, you know what, screw it, we're gonna do something here. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. This is probably the only prompt on the wheel I did not like. So this is gonna be fun. Is basically what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Anything? I'm sure we all got some crazy ideas that we throw in reality TV though.
Oh yeah. All right. Anything else before we close out and say goodbye?
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, but we're all good.
I'm out of craziness right now.
I don't think that's ever happened before. Are you okay?
Well, it all started.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening.
Sorry, game music.
Oh.
Thanks for listening to the 3 Not So Wise Men. Krais Baker, Jack Green, and Austin Michaelis. Shout out to Louis Trotter for the awesome theme music. Have a good one, y'all.